Can you actually make money your very first month trading Forex? In this video, I'm gonna cover 3 reasons why Forex trading is so difficult, especially your first month. I'm also going to give you some realistic expectations of what you can expect to make your first month. And then at the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you a few tips to have a successful first month. Hi, my name's Adam Winnig, and I've been trading Forex for the past 7 years, and we've also helped hundreds of people become successful Forex traders, as well as help thousands of people that are brand new to Forex trading. So what's the difference between people that have success in their first month and people that don't have success in their first month? So this question, is it actually possible to make money trading Forex your first month? And the answer is obviously yes. I mean, anything is possible, right? But it's very difficult to become profitable your first month unless you do some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video. Now, you may get lucky and you may have what we call beginner's luck, right? You see this happening a lot of the times actually pre-programmed into like slot machines if you've ever been to a casino, where you'll actually get some sort of winning streak and you'll start to make some money. And this is what actually gets you hooked into playing this casino slot machine even further. And obviously the casino knows that if we can get people hooked, they're going to play more and eventually they're going to lose even more money. And that may happen to you. You may get in your first month trading Forex and you may make a few winning trades that get you hooked. You get this beginner's luck. But if it was anything like my story, my very first trade ever, I tell this story a lot, but I ended up losing $10,000 on my very first trading day ever, which is a disastrous story. So let's get into this and let's talk about this. 3 reasons that make Forex trading so difficult, especially your first month. Then we'll talk about realistic expectations and then tips for a successful first month. So first things first, 3 reasons why trading is so difficult, especially your first month. Number 1 is you likely don't have an edge. And if you don't know what an edge is, it's just a higher probability of something happening than something else happening. The reality is if you're brand new to Forex, then you may not have a proven trading system or proven edge that is actually going to yield you favorable results in the market. So if you don't have an edge that's actually going to help you make money if you execute on it, then there's really no chance of you being able to have success in your first month unless of course you do get beginner's luck. Now the second thing here that makes it really difficult is, let's say that for instance you do have an edge or a proven system for winning. Well, the second problem is in execution. You likely can't execute the edge exactly the way that it needs to be executed if you're just getting started trading. Well, of course you have to learn, a whole new entire language when you get into trading. And of course you also have to learn how to use the trading platform, but also you're going to have to learn how to manage your psychology and your emotions and the times that you're trading and all of these different variables. So the second big problem is even if you have the edges, can you actually execute it properly? Now, the third big problem that we have as human beings, especially when we get into trading, if we don't have a professional gambling background or professional poker background, we don't have a degree in mathematics or statistics, then our brains are emotional. And especially when we're trading with real money, losing money is an emotional thing, as well as winning money is a very emotional thing. You get really high when you win money, you get really low when you lose money. Our brains are not trained to think in terms of probability and think in terms of statistics, and that's what we need to think like in order to become successful traders. Now, in order to get your brain to think in terms of probabilities, the easiest way that I can explain this is by flipping a coin, right? You know that if you flip a coin, you have a 50% chance of landing on heads and a 50% chance at landing on tails. Now, what makes trading so difficult is this. Let's say that you've got your edge and you know how to execute it. Here's what makes it difficult. Let's say that a head is a winning trade and a tails is a losing trade. So your very first trade, let's say you go out there and you flip a heads, you got a winning trade. Great. You're probably all excited. You got this rush of dopamine. You're euphoric. That's great. But look at what happens very next. You have a losing trade. Ah, crap. Then you have a losing trade. Crap. Losing trade. Losing trade. You have 4 losing trades in a row. And this is what makes trading very difficult is that you're not trained to think in terms of probabilities and think in terms of statistics. So a lot of people would go through these few losing trades and then they'd end up actually quitting at this point or giving up on the system or looking for a new trading system or trading edge. Yet, had you have just stuck to the plan and flipped it out 100 different times, like you can see here, you can see 52% of the time it actually ended up being a winning trade. So now that you know the 3 things that make trading difficult is 1, finding an edge that works, 2, being able to execute the edge, and then 3, learning how to think in terms of probabilities. Let's talk about realistic expectations about how much money can you actually make in the market your first month. To understand that experience is really the greatest teacher and repetition is the mother of all skills. So if you want to become a skilled trader, there's no substituting the repetitions and the experience that you'll get from actually doing it. Sure, you can go out there and you can read as many books, watch as many YouTube videos as possible, but nothing is going to teach you like actually going out there and executing it and actually putting it into practice. You can read all the books and watch a bunch of videos about how to build a house, but you're not going to really become a master at it until you actually get out there and you get the experience. I wouldn't have your expectations so high because you have very little experience your very first month. Also, a lot of people have unrealistic profit expectations. You have to think about this just for a second. Like, if you're coming into this and thinking that, you're going to grow your account by 30, 40, 50%, 100% in your very first month, these are what I like to call unrealistic expectations. And yes, this is possible. And yes, you may have heard stories of people doing this in their very first month. The chances are that they probably just got lucky and they probably weren't using safe risk management strategies if they're able to get that large of a return in just such a short period of time. The next thing that is a key factor in determining how much money you can actually make your first month is your starting capital, right? If you only have a $500 account or if you have a $1,000 account, it's very difficult to be able to make $500 or $1,000. That means you'd have to grow by 100% in just a single month. So if you have low starting capital, you can't really expect to be able to make this a full-time gig or even a part-time gig if you're trading that small amount of money. Now, granted, if you have a $10,000 account, maybe you can make 10% in a month. Granted, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to do that your first month unless you follow along with what I'm going to show you in just a second here. But 10% in a month on a $10,000 account, then boom, you've made $1,000, and that could be a little part-time income for you. But what I really like to getting access to more capital, which I believe is a better risk to reward play, is using something like a prop firm. And if you haven't heard of these, there's tons of them. FTMO is probably the most famous, but basically you could get funded $100,000 worth of somebody else's capital and not have to risk your own money, and at the same time get 80% of the profit splits. The way that these work, if you're not familiar, basically you'll have a test fee, which in this case, it costs you $540. And essentially, if you can pass their two-phase test, then they'll fund you with up to $100,000 worth of trading capital, which is really, really great. Now, the challenge with these prop firms is that their tests are not easy. You have to do 10% profit target in 30 days without having 10% drawdown. And then you have to do 5% profit target in 60 days without having 10% drawdown. So the tests are difficult to pass. However, if you can figure out a way to actually pass these tests, then you can unlock a ton of capital and not have to risk a lot of your own money. So now that we've talked about some realistic expectations, let's talk about a few tips to having a successful first month. So first things first is education is king. When you're learning Forex trading, you're pretty much learning an entirely new language. And if you've ever tried to learn a new language, it's not difficult. It takes a lot of learning, it takes a lot of education and a lot of repetition. Nothing different about trading. Now, if I could recommend just a few books and courses that would be good for you to take, especially if you're starting, my number one favorite trading book is a book called Trading in the Zone. This will really get you to think like a trader and think in terms of probabilities like we talked about earlier. And then the second thing is that you need to learn the lingo or the language and the basics here of Forex trading. So there's a couple good courses that you can take. One is called babypips.com. It's a written, very long, thorough course. We've also done our best to make like a video version in 2 to 3 minute long videos. You can see that playlist all on our channel where I've broken down literally everything that you could possibly need to learn about the lingo and about Forex basics down in a playlist. So you can go ahead and check that out. It's for free. And I highly recommend that you get this sort of education when you're first starting. The second thing for having a successful first month is you need to develop some sort of trading plan. And you want to be able to trade this plan like a robot, meaning that you don't have any gut feeling or any emotion. You've set your rules prior and you just follow the rules to a T. Now, developing a trading plan involves something like finding an entry signal, which is basically going to tell you when you should buy or when you should sell. Also having an exit signal, which is telling you when you should get out of the trade, and also having risk management rules, basic risk management rules like how much money you're going to risk per trade, how much money total you're going to risk per day, and how much money you're going to risk total per week. Having these things clearly defined prior to trading is a must. If you don't do this, then the chances of you having success is very, very low. You may just get the beginner's luck, but the chances are is you're going to lose the money because you are ultimately in a very competitive market, trading against very sophisticated algorithms, experienced traders, and also big banks and hedge funds. Now, I'll tell you the last thing that really helped me become a successful Forex trader was when I first started to become profitable. Like I mentioned early, when I first started my very first trade, I lost lost $10,000. I went through trying Forex signals. I went through, a bunch of different courses. I did baby pips and all of this different stuff to start to learn Forex trading. But it really wasn't actually until I started using Forex robots that I actually started to have some success. Now, granted, had I just started using a Forex robot, a good one, my very first month, then the chances are I probably could have been profitable my very first month. And the thing that I love about Forex robots, and the reason why I talk about it, especially for people that are beginners, is because it solves a lot of these big problems. Like, it solves this problem of not having a trading plan. A robot is a pre-programmed trading system, meaning that you program the trading system and it'll trade and execute exactly the way that it's programmed to do, which is another big problem about execution. Trading robots don't have any sort of emotion. So for that reason, I also like them. It's more psychologically easy for people to trade and less emotional. However, some people can still mess up even trading Forex robots because they can see the account losing or can be in drawdown, and they'll go and they'll manually intervene with the robot, which I've seen happen a lot of times. So like I mentioned, it wasn't actually until I started using Forex robots that I started to see consistent profits. And now we've kind of built our whole company around building Forex robots. And if you're interested, we've built a really amazing one that actually can help you pass these prop firm tests. So we're killing two birds with one stone. We're giving you a trading plan and executing it, and it can help you get access to more capital, which is really, really cool. We built it specifically for passing these prop firm challenges and getting you access to capital. If you'd like to give it a try, you can learn more at propfarming.com. That's propfarming.com. So now we've covered this, I want to show you 10 Forex tips and tricks to instantly put you in the top 1% of traders. I studied the most successful traders, and there's 10 common things that they do that make them that successful. So go ahead and watch this video right now.